Eric Weinstein was on the Piers Morgan show, and he was talking about Jeffrey Epstein and UFOs and where these worlds overlap, and it was some pretty interesting stuff. Now, let's not forget, Eric Weinstein is really connected to Peter Thiel. I just think that's kind of worth noting whenever you hear him talk. Not that it's like, to be like, fuck Eric Weinstein, but just beware,
I knew that my work, which technically would have been about something called self-dual Yang-Mills equations, was actually about gravity. He was very focused on gravity, and which this is going to come up in the UFO disclosures, which is that the UFO weirdness is not just about UFOs. It's about the golden age of general relativity and US attempts to gain control over additional forces of nature. There are 4 forces of nature. We know how to control 2 of them somewhat, the strong force and the electromagnetic force. The strong force is what we got control of in 1945 and took out 2 cities in Japan. So what happens when you can control gravity? This is absolutely national interest. The national security apparatus has completely fallen down on the job. Nobody's picked up on what kind of a spy he was. And the idea that this is some sort of auxiliary thing that he was doing with respect to science, when the main story is just about the sexual misdeeds, this is not true. I mean, his operation, I think in part, was about spying on scientists.
There you go. Now one more. Oh, is it going to troll me? Wow. It's going to troll me live in the stream. Okay. I see how it is. Let's see if we could do it this way. Okay, yeah, we're going to have to do it this way. Give me one moment, guys. We're doing it live. It's trolling me live.
He somehow knew.
Barack Obama,
thank you guys for letting me know,
stumbled into global headlines by saying he thought aliens existed. People assumed he'd seen evidence of this. He sort of reined back on that. But Donald Trump has now said he will release all the classified files on UFOs and aliens. And you posted after that, an enormous secret is buried here. I have failed to guess it year after year. What did you mean by that?
We have a puzzle that I can't solve. There is more accumulated anecdotal, circumstantial, and sporadic evidence of an enormous program about UFOs than I know how to dismiss. I've talked to people who have strikingly similar firsthand accounts of bizarre behavior, either in terms of objects in the skies or the seas, or seeming US government employees with no insignia and no identification behaving in bizarre ways. I can't explain the amount of firsthand claims from non-actors delivered with perfect sincerity that would make Hollywood blush if there isn't a reality behind it. Now, sometimes we get a look at that. For example, there's a private Air Force that seems to come down from the skies and destroy equipment of people observing UFOs that I think turned out to be the CIA's Office of Global Access. I wasn't smart enough to figure out.
So that's reporting coming from, I think, Chris Sharp and Matt Ford. And yeah, they kind of reported that about 2024, I think, is when I first saw that story kind of break.
How you could hide an Air Force inside of the United States from a breakaway society, but I think it was just the CIA. So, that was bad for me. I didn't get that. I think what you're seeing is that there's probably a very long-standing program, particularly involving physics and particularly involving aerospace companies, not as aerospace as we know it, but as shells in which you can put very sensitive stuff that could be FOIA'd if it was found inside of government. I don't know what's in that structure. I think Wright-Patterson Air Force Base is going to be very important. There's a site in Indiana, several in New Mexico. My guess is that New Mexico is going to be the hub that connects atomic weapons, UFOs, and Jeffrey Epstein. And they're all going to merge into one story about power that we don't understand. Human power is going to be centered in a state that we barely ever talk about, and including Bill Richardson at the Department of Energy, which of course is really the custodian of physics and our nuclear weapons that Jimmy Carter converted from the AEC, where atomic energy was the cover story for atomic weapons. So it went from atomic weapons to atomic energy to just energy. And now we sound like Bill Richardson went there to be the head of oil and gas. So I think that you're going to find out that New Mexico is going to be the hub that connects all these stories.
Interesting stuff. I mean, You know, he's kind of plugged, kind of not at the same time. Let me see. Astral had redone one of my things from earlier. That was pretty funny. Yeah, let's watch this one. Oh wait, I have to stop that. We're doing it live. Boom, boom, boom. I'm a clip DJ. We out here. Okay. Can you guys? Let me make sure you guys can hear this too when I play it.
Eric W. Davis, so far as I can find, is the only person other than maybe Hal Puthoff who I've been able to talk to who speaks anything of these languages. This is not a particularly famous physicist. Hal Puthoff is an electrical engineer, I think PhD in electrical engineering. Eric W. Davis says to me, I said, is there nobody out here who speaks physics? This doesn't make any sense. And he says, well, you, Hal, and I are the three most technical people on this. Joe, I'm not even on this.
The delivery of that gets me every time.
You know as much.
Every time it gets me. Every time.
You, Hal, and I are the three. Eric W. Davis says to me, I said, is there nobody out here who speaks physics? This doesn't make any sense. And he says, well, you, Hal, and I are the three most technical people on this. Joe, I'm not even on this.
So you know
Hilarious.
as much.
Hilarious gets me every time. Thank you, DTP, for recognizing my clip DJ skills. All right, last story.